West Tigers fans, a heartbreaking loss to the Parramatta Eels after a tumultuous week leading into this game. Of course, a week ago we spoke to Coach Adel. We had Tripper on. We were so angry at Isaac Moses, and tonight we can be angry at his cousin Mitchell Moses, and plenty to break down from this game. A bit of a fight back from the West Tigers. Again, we've got Coach Adel to break it all down with Mr. Bechara, who I'll get to soon. While I've got you guys, before I step out, please give us a follow. We're trying to get 2005 followers on all our socials and our YouTube page. Our YouTube's into the 1700s now. So if you're listening to this on audio, please head to YouTube, our YouTube channel, give us a subscribe, and patreon.com/WestsLife if you want to join in the fun. Discord was, as you can imagine, lots of passion, lots of heat today as well. If you want to support the show as well as we head further into the season. I'll bring in Coach Adel first. Adel, thank you for joining us again on another game night, this time on a Monday night to break it all down.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, that was a frustrating one today. It's hard to not react with emotion, but yeah, we very disappointed. It's probably the best way to describe it.
And my long left-hand man, Mr. Bechara, he's fresh. The game's only, what are we, 2.5 hours past full time. He's put himself through another rewatch so he can break it all down for everyone. Rob, people like when you go on a rant and you have plenty of passion, but you're feeling quite down on this one. It's a tough one to take, that loss.
I'm utterly devastated. I didn't want to do this tonight. I'm not the right voice for the fans tonight. The season's over, boys. Just everything we went through with that week. It's a totally different thing losing this game under normal circumstances to what we went through during the week and losing it the way we did today. I'm going to come across as having blamed the referee. The referees, that's 2 weeks in, 2 games in 3 or 4 weeks that he's absolutely bent us over. I've gone through and I've made a list of every single thing that I can pick on, just so I can look like an even bigger whinger. That said, somehow, I don't know how, maybe because we were 12 on 11, we got back in the game. We got it back to 26-22. And the ineptitude of our red zone offense was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. The game was there on the line. It was there to be taken. I get the boys were fatigued. I get the boys were not refereed like the other team were refereed, but we had the chance to get back in the game. If you look at the whole game, probably that score reflects the scoreline, but it really, it was there to be had. Perhaps the emotion of the week took its toll on the boys. I'm not upset with the boys. I know the effort's there. Again, at 26-10 down, we could have just turned it up, but we didn't. Got back in a position to win the game, but we didn't finish it off. And Mitch Moses was great, there's no doubt. Parramatta had a few good players. Their forward pack is absolutely shithouse. They have a shithouse forward pack. As soon as we started punching up the middle, near the end of the first half, middle of the second half, instead of going side to side, we were putting holes in them. They don't have a forward pack that can compete, but they did today against us because we played pretty dumb in the end. Tactically we were stupid. I don't understand some of the interchange rotation. I don't know when Tony Suka's coming on. Maybe he's coming on against Cronulla next week. It's just a fucking joke, boys. Absolute fucking joke. And I know everyone's got excuses and it wasn't a right preparation, but everyone is at fault for this loss. The referee was shithouse. Benji was shithouse. The whole fucking thing was shithouse, guys. It's too close to the end of the game, boys. It really is. It's just fucking awful because I got such high hopes for this season. Adel talked about top 4 last week. I thought we were morals for the top 8. We should have won this game. It's our 3rd game that we've lost at home. And even I feel like a liar saying it's our 3rd game lost at home, boys. It's not our fucking home ground. I know we need the money. It's not our home ground. That's the main reason I didn't go to CommBank today. I don't support CommBank Stadium because it's a bluff. What did we do? Rip the fucking seats out and have a de facto hill and say, that's our jungle? Fuck off with that shit. It's just fucking bullshit. Stop playing. You want to play at CommBank Stadium, play another fucking team. Don't play Parramatta. like if I'd have gone up there and played Parramatta and copped that, I would have gotten an all-in brawl with someone. Fucking joke taking Parramatta games to Parramatta. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've already raved on, guys. Let's just get on with this fucking show and get it over with.
Yeah, the crowd was 50-50 today. I was saying to Statsman, who will join us at Wednesday night at the Orange Grove Hotels. We look forward to the Sharks game at Leichhardt there. But yeah, it's at the very least, it goes back to Parramatta's home game next year there. And at the very least, I hope we play Parramatta, take them to Campbelltown. Because
when was the last home game we had where a fucking other team started their chant in the first minute? The first fucking minute, the Para chant came up. I know Richo wants the corporate seats. Great. Fucking have the corporate seats. We made some money today. We just fucking lost another season. 14 years in a fucking row. It's bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit playing Parramatta at Parramatta. I bagged Pasco out for doing that. This is a fucking dumb move to have taken Parramatta there to play our home game there. Just so stupid. Play another team. Play Penrith. Play New Zealand. Play anyone. Don't play Parramatta.
Instead of New Zealand, it's not a bad idea. All right, Rob. I know you've, if you need me to step in at all, let me know. But
you're right.
Take it away with Adel. Adel's going to break this one down for us and tell us where the boys went wrong. I'll see you Wednesday night at the Orange Grove Hotel.
Well, Adel, do you want to have your say, mate, before I tear shreds off this stupid referee that from the first minute of the game couldn't find a shoulder charge from Tuolangi to the head of Terrell May, which could have got us a sin bin from the very first minute. The guy's copped 3 weeks now, apparently. He's up for a 3-week suspension, according to news reports tonight. But, mate, you talk me how you want to talk through the game, and when I want to bag the referee later, I will.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go down that path, I mean, I'm in full agreement with you there. That's 2 weeks in a row where a team has been perfect when when we're attacking their line. We've had no ruck infringements for them slowing our ruck down, which is just ridiculous. So I won't sort of go too far on the referee. Look, I'm extremely disappointed. I don't actually think our effort was good today. I don't think we got back into the game. I think we got very lucky, or we didn't get lucky. That was a sin bin. The Ongi one, I can't believe people are blowing up about that. If he doesn't tackle Stafford-Toa's away and gone. So
exactly,
probably a try.
It's a clear sin bin.
I don't understand how people have got the shit with that. I actually said it live that I thought it's immediately a sin bin. Look, I don't know the dynamic of how the coaching staff works, and as a head coach, I defend Benji. You know that I'm a Benji advocate. But at the end of the day, he takes responsibility for this, and he'll know that. The tough part is, like you said, you go into this last week, the players turned around and defended Benji in a circumstance that's very unique to anything we've ever seen in the past. The key now from his perspective is he's got to be a coach. And I'm going forward before I go backwards here a step. He's got to literally turn into the coach right now and demand them to be better. It's all good and well to defend him sort of off the field. What they need to do is they need to play for him on the field. Because Kevin Walter said it during the week. It's all good and well to not play somebody. And I'm still of the agreement, and we'll talk about Galvin a little bit later. I agree that he shouldn't play him. But it's all good and well doing that if the players are not going to back that up. Now, I sit there and I say this from the outside looking in, and as a coach, I'm so frustrated because how do you come up with the way we've been attacking? And I've been someone from round one that said to you, it's all about combination. It's about building. It's about getting better. But what are we in round 7? Is today round 7, if I'm correct?
Yep.
There is no excuse that when the game became 12-on-11, our attack became worse.
Yeah.
It was disgraceful. And I want to know who, I heard Benji early in the week say, and I loved what he said. He said, one of the things he's always learned is you need to be yourself. Remember, you try to be anything other than yourself, it doesn't work for you. He needs to be himself with how our team plays. Your team needs to be a reflection on you. If Benji was in our halves today, we win. If he was our half today, we win that game. At that stage, when the game got to 12-on-11, if Benji Marshall's your half at 36, whatever his last year at South was, we win that game. He needs to turn this team into a reflection of him, and I get it. And I understand why it's about building your defense and becoming a better defensive team. And I understand that. But the way we're attacking is there's nothing to it. There's no substance to it. There's no planning to it. There was the time then when that stupid referee stopped the game to give Matt Dory a break because he had concern for him. It was tackle 2. I think we were down by 10. We just went set play, hit up, tackle 5. It was horrendous. Like I actually don't understand it. I don't understand what our attack looks like. It was supposed to have built, and I get building combinations, but this is how it's looked for 4 or 5 weeks. And Galvin's little bit of individual brilliance has actually helped us in those first couple of rounds. I felt sorry for Dewey today. I thought he was poor. He looks like someone that hasn't played or trained in the halves for a while. And I feel sorry for him, and from that perspective, I actually said at a stage during the game today, this is the first time I've actually acknowledged that we probably need, and Latu was supposed to be that guy if Galvin was playing, the 13 to come on and be a bit more creative for us through the middle of the field and straighten up our attack. But I don't know what that's going to look like now, but I just don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how they approach the attack and what we do with our attack. Like, how is there not an understanding of wherever the ball on the field is? And Andrew Johns talked about this about the Broncos the other night. Is rugby league has gone past the days of setting up one to have a shot, then set up again to have another crack, and then set up again to have another crack. It's having a crack for a crack for a crack for a crack. It's consistently troubling or throwing things at the defensive line to create compromises in the defensive line, but also understand the shape that we want to run. We don't run shape. Sorry, that's the wrong thing to say. We do run shape. We don't run consistent shape. We set up for one big play, and if that big play doesn't happen, we then take a settler to get back to another spot, and then all of a sudden, we sort of don't understand what we want to do on the next play. And we've heard him say it in the press conference a couple of times about we want to learn the type of play we've got to play. Well, sorry, that's not good enough anymore. We've got to be told what we're playing now. We've got to understand what we're playing. And I think Benji's a little bit not being himself. That's my observation on it. He's not being himself. He's someone that took the game on. We did not take that game on today. That was so poor. Rob. I wish I could say something a lot more positive than that, but that was poor. That was pedestrian. I've seen a lot of guys take shortcuts. I've seen a lot of guys walking marker. I didn't think our effort was there at all. I know you said the effort was there, and I heard Benji say it in the press conference. I actually disagree with him. I didn't think the effort was there at all today. I think they, after a big week, it almost in hindsight looked like we would have preferred to have played a top-ranked side than the team coming last, because I think the boys sort of thought we'll get, there was a bit of complacency there, but I hate to say we got Mitch Moses today.
Well, let me elaborate on what I meant by there was effort there. I think it's fair to say that Tigers teams of the past that were down 26-10, that were getting raped and pillaged by a referee, would turn it up. And I actually turned to, one of my sons watching the game with me, and I said, Para's going to hit 50. That's what I said. I said, Para, today felt like there was going to be no resilience. I'd given up. I'd resigned myself to the fact that even if we score a try, we're not going to win. Obviously, this is before Yongi went to the sin bin. And then when Yongi went to the sin bin, I thought, well, hang on, there might be a chance here. Look, I know you want to talk about, Adel, the game being played in different stages, like there were different swings in the game, and it was sort of Para's period and the West Tigers period. Mate, I've made some notes of the first half and second half. I felt like I was back in 5th class on Saturday detention, like writing these notes. I may as well have written 100 lines saying a referee will never help the West Tigers, but I did make some points about the first half. I want to read them out, and then you can go into your little spiel about how you thought the first half went. So as I've mentioned, the very first hit up of the game, shoulder to the head on Terrell May, nothing done about it. Parra get a penalty to go 2-0 in the 3rd minute, but when they receive that penalty, one of our players goes on report and Tuolungi goes on report at that time. So we get basically a guy put on report 3 minutes too late. We finally get a penalty in the game. We kick for touch. Bolle gets stripped of the ball, first tackle by Hopgood. Clear strip. See the motion of the hand. Nothing done about it. We couldn't even challenge it. Appy tried to challenge it, but because it wasn't a breaking play or something, we couldn't do anything. 7th minute, high tackle on Taruva, not called for. 9th minute, we were offside. 12th minute, a really poor bomb by Dewey, but that's because Smith took off an hour early from marker. So pretty much all of Dewey's kicks were rushed today in the first half because there was no offside and markers weren't kept square. 15th minute, Josh Adokar try, again on the back of a 6 again infringement in our red zone. So they got more of a leg up from the ref. 18th minute.
Can I quickly add, Rob?
Yeah.
Two of them to add to you. That 6 to go and the one before it were on tackle 4. He gave them 2 tackle 4 6 to goes.
Okay, sorry, I've missed that. There was a tackle 4 one to Alex 12, wasn't there, early in the game? Then further to that, bomb gets put up to Buller. Allegedly, Josh Adokar jumped up for the ball. His arms were nowhere near the ball. He bumped Buller midair, no penalty. That's in the 18th minute. 23rd minute, Terrell May scored a try. I knew he was going to score a try today. It was so obvious. Parramatta's middle is so shit. That was always on the cards. 31st minute, Taruva's penalised for an escort penalty on Josh Adokar. I guess he's meant to get out of the way when the ball's behind him and he's not allowed to turn around and run from the ball. From that, they get a 6 again, of course, for a high shot. No, they get a penalty for a high shot. Then they get a 6 again, and then Yongi scores. So it's literally like, I'm going to keep hammering you till you get a try here. And they did. And it was a good try to Yongi. Got around Naden, who, again, I told everyone that trial form was bullshit. Like, he came off after 15 minutes, missing 3 tackles. Naden missed 6 tackles today. So he was, I think, out of all the players in our team, he missed the most tackles. We had to keep surviving later on in the half. And luckily, funny enough, the only call that went our way, they got called for a forward pass near the goalpost, which I didn't think was a forward pass. And then my only little summary at the end of that first half, Adel, and obviously when you see a 38-22 scoreline, it doesn't mean much. Why didn't we set up for a field goal? Like, where there's 30 seconds left, we're middle of the field, we've got a couple of tackles left. It just looked like no effort to score a field goal. Anyway, that was kind of my sulking way of summing up the first half. And remember, all the talking points are mainly in the second half. And that was just the first half alone. And again, I'm going to say it again, we got refed out of the game. But when we did get back in the game, the West Tigers were not good enough to win the game. So I'm blaming the ref, but I'm also blaming our team for fighting back, getting in a position to win it, and then blowing it. How did you see that first half overall?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I thought our defensive effort was poor. The first try we actually defended, the system was really good, and that's just a poor miss by Taruva, 101 with the Fox. So that's poor from his perspective there. He'd want to be better. I won't sort of talk too much. The Terrell May try, again, it was at Tuolungi, which we knew was always going to be a target. They sort of picked his inside and outside. I think he had 2 runners, and he just literally just shoveled the ball to Terrell May and he just ran over and scored. Like, that's the sort of softness we should have got out of him if we play off our 9. This is my whole point to our tackler. I don't understand what we're trying to do. Like, use our 9. Just use him. Just play off him. Early in the game, just run, drops off him, lead lines off him, double runners off him, let him create and let us go out the back a little bit later. But, who am I to tell these guys what to do? The Oyongi try, you nailed it. The Oyongi try, I think it was the Tuolungi try as well. As much as the Tuolungi try in that second half, the Oyongi try, Brent Naden just defensively, he has no understanding of defending as a unit. He defends on his own. He makes decisions on his own. He crossed. So Luai done a really good thing in that situation on that Oyongi's first try, where he went to the line, he took away, he sort of went a bit passive, and he made, instead of Moses being able to play at him, he actually took away Moses' ability to play at the line, which basically means you can then stay with numbers. But once he'd done that, Naden actually crossed his path, got in front of him, and then all of a sudden they actually gave him the 3-on-2 on the outside, and then he misses the tackle on Oyongi. So,
see, that's the worst thing for me.
Later on.
Sorry, Adel. That's the worst thing for me about the whole Galvin situation. Everyone says, "Oh, we might not miss Lockie, etc." But again, I watched Lockie today. He didn't do anything special. He blended in quite well in cup. He did try. I don't think he was there tanking. But if you watched him at Lidcombe Oval today, you would say he would not have made a difference to our team. But what makes the difference to our team? By having Galvin at 6, you have Adam at centre. And while Adam's not the strongest centre in the world, his defensive reads are really good. So we've punished ourselves, rightfully, mind you. I'm just so everyone knows, I'm Team Benji on this Galvin situation. Like, you can't play with someone that offends the coach the way they have. It's just, I don't see a way back for Lockie in the team at all, but I'll talk to you about that later on. But yeah, I just think the fact that we were weakened in 2 positions by having this one out was really crucial. Let's get on to the second half, mate. I've got a good stat for you. We didn't touch the ball for 9 minutes and 59 seconds. Well, actually, we did. Luke went up for a ball and dropped it. Yeah, Luke went up for a ball and dropped it. And then in the 10th minute, he finally defused the bomb. But in that 10-minute period, Adel, we had the controversial hip drop on Tuolangi by Samuel Afenu. Miraculously gets up and scores a try a minute later. As I mentioned, Luke drops the bomb in the 44th minute. Don't know who the number 17 scores, but funny thing with the West Tigers, Adel, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter when you're making debut, you're a massive chance of scoring your first try against the West Tigers. And this number 17 scored his first ever try against the West Tigers. 47th minute, penalty on Jack Bird. Again, I didn't think this was a high shot. I know he didn't really have room to wrap his arm with his shoulder, but I didn't think he got him in the head. Anyway, they marched down on the field and they score a really good try to Yongi. And to me, I'll ask you about that Yongi try, Adel, because it just seemed catch and pass and they were getting outsiders so easily. Like, I've bagged Naden, but I have to say the Toa to Ruva combination just got easy. They got around us so easily. And if you remember 2 tackles before that, they were on the right-hand side of the field around the halfway line, and I'm not sure who the player was. It might have even been Mitch Moses. Someone threw a ball 10 metres behind the play, and they had to go back and retrieve it. And it took a couple of tackles to get back into position. But you're talking about having a lock that straightens up the attack. That's what Dylan Walker did, because Dylan Walker digging into the line and going straight, that really helped that try. And I just see our halves, we mentioned it last week, they go sideways. No one except Latu Fainu just goes straight into the line. We just take the space away from ourselves. But talk us through that Yongi try, mate.
Well, the Kelma try, I'll start with the Kelma try. So the Kelma try again, Naden makes a poor decision. It's come out of the line for no reason. And what you call that is you leave your halfback to be sitting in a chair, which is what Luai's doing there. So he's sitting isolated. You can call it sitting on a chair or on an island. Got to make a one-on-one tackle. Look, at the end of the day, he's got to make that tackle. He'd be more disappointed than anybody else, but it's pretty common that you see that when a half gets isolated in that position, you'll see a lot of them miss that tackle with a big, ranging back row coming at them and they're isolated with no help. The Tuivasa tackle, the Tuivasa try, again, that's to me shortcuts. That's to me our players worrying about so much shit. Like, it happened so much in Red Bull where guys getting up, looking at the referee. In that situation, I think Jack Bird picked up the guy's headgear and threw it away, and then all of a sudden sort of it was distracted and allowed the try. The Oyongi try, we were short on numbers. So they played the ball in the middle of the field. They played the ball on the right-hand side of the field. We'd set our short side at 4. We only had 5 on the open. We had a late marker coming back, and that marker was still on the way back as they were coming at us. So we were stripped for numbers early. I'm going to come up with something to add to your list, Rob, because you probably haven't seen this. I want you to go back and watch that Odo car pass to Yongi. I reckon it's 7 meters forward.
Can I will say something.
I'm not exaggerating, Rob. I want you to go back and look at it. I think it's a mile forward.
This is my thing, Adel. It feels like he almost caught it over the try line. Like, it did feel like it went 3 meters forward. But look, I definitely haven't sounded objective tonight, but if you watch the replays, yes, the ball travelled forward, but to me, it looks like it comes backwards out of his hands. And maybe that is the momentum that makes it travel forward. But I honestly, at first, I was dropping F-bombs and saying, it's forward, it's forward, it's forward. And then I've looked at the replay a minute or two later while I was watching it live, and I've looked at it again twice tonight. I don't know. It looks like it comes backwards out of the hand, but it clearly travels forward. I don't know anymore, mate. I don't know, but I just know that when it's against us, we want to get the call.
Yeah, because what we learned Saturday night when the Broncos did it, all of a sudden they found the forward pass the other night against the Warriors. But anyway,
I think the Reece Walsh pass was forward there. Like, he kind of slid on his knees and he didn't really put himself in a position to throw the ball backwards, and it looked like it came forwards out of his hands. To me,
so someone said something to me who's a very intelligent person about those passes, and I'm saying it now about the Adel Hage pass, but about the Reece Walsh pass. So he explained it to me. He said when someone passes the ball, as long as the ball never ends up ahead of that person, it's never a forward pass because of momentum. So that's actually the good way to look at it. So if I pass the ball to you, and the ball, after I pass it, is always behind me, even if it's traveling forward, if it's always behind me because of my momentum, it means I passed it backwards. And that's a very smart person that told me that. So it actually makes sense after I listened to it. So I don't know
now
whether
you've
that makes
said
sense.
Where was Adel Hage when Yongi caught the ball? Would that theory work in that case?
I don't know. I just thought of it then with the Reece Walsh because that was the example that was given to me. So I haven't looked. So I will go back.
Yeah, look, like I said, looking at the angle from the dead ball line behind the goalposts, like our goalposts, looking at Adel Hage, it looked backwards out of the hand. But watching it live, it's gone a mile forward. Anyway, mate, a couple of more. Sorry.
No, you go.
I was just going to say a couple more. So after that period, we finally got the ball back, and then we proceeded to kick the ball dead in goal by Luai, give him a 7-tackle set. A minute later, Seyfarth just does a stupid, ill-disciplined penalty in the 52nd minute. We withstand that. Taruva dives on a ball. Next tackle, Buller gets pushed into touch. I don't know, Adel, maybe again I'm biased here, but at one stage, Buller was held. He stopped.
Absolutely.
Like you call hell there, mate. And let me just go back. Oh, sorry, I did forget something, and this is where I want to say I'm picking on the referee, but I don't give a shit. He's fucking shit. This guy had no control of the game because when Yongi scores a try, Taruva shouldn't have done this, but he stuck his leg out, right, to try and get under the ball and maybe potentially hold him up. He had no chance of doing it. And after the try, the ref blew his whistle because the centre, Sean Russell, had a go at Taruva while he was on the ground. Nothing's done about that. No sin bin, no warning, no nothing. He's done what he's done, gets away with it. When Buller gets pushed into touch, the hooker has got Buller by the collar and he's pumping him down 2 or 3 times. Taruva shouldn't have done what he did. Okay, like it's.
Yes, he
the
should
ref
have.
had no.
Yes, he
the
should
ref
have.
had no choice when he flung him off like a wrestling match. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can maybe dive on top
I'm
of
okay
him.
with it. I know you can't.
I'm not. I think
I know you can't do it from a. Yeah,
but then
I know
Adel,
you probably are. But
well, firstly, we should have got the penalty. Like he shouldn't have been allowed to go into touch. But then to top it off, he reckons he's given Russell a warning after the Yongi try. Then as Taruva's going off to the sin bin, Russell's giving him more lip. The ref should have said, fuck you, you're off too. Like, that's the second time in 3 minutes. Fuck off, you're gone. Like, you can't do that, mate. The guy's got no control. He looks like a fucktard at the best of times. Mate, he shouldn't be doing our games anymore. If no one's going to get a $30,000 fine from the club, I'll fucking get it. I'm fucking sick of getting raped by these refs every fucking week. And I know Mitch Moses had a good game, but Para are a shit unit. They're an absolute, with a shit coach, by the way. What prop has ever been a good coach? Like, Riles was the dumbest of props when he played. How's he a coach? He's 2 out of 6 because we fucking played a home game at their home ground. I don't know who's worse in that section. All right, let me move on before I fucking totally lose my cool. Where are we? Okay, we've mentioned that. We've mentioned Taruva. Oh, Moretti goes to the sin bin as well. Wow, you're such a good referee, aren't you? Fair. So now we're down to 12 men each. The Eels have a no try in the 55th minute when Simonson's trying to ground the ball in the right-hand corner, but he bounces it. And then, obviously, you touched on it earlier, Stafford Toa. Okay, Adam gets the ball down the right-hand side, puts the chip over the top. The ball goes past Yongi, like it's gone past him. And then straight away, Yongi tackles Toa. Like he knows the ball's gone past him. Whether Toa gets the ball or not, you've deliberately tackled a bloke without the ball. It's a sin bin. Anyone arguing that, you're an idiot. Anyway, so that's done. What do we do from there? We get a Seyfarth try in the 62nd minute. I fast forward a little bit because our attack was shit. Seyfarth gets a try off a really nice rubber kick from Luai because Adel Hage didn't really know what to do at fullback and wanted to let the ball go over the dead ball line. And then, look, to me, this was the turning point of the game after we got ourselves back in it. The intercept by Josh Adel Hage when Taruva went down the right-hand side. It hurt more watching the replay because not only was Buller inside, there were another two guys inside Buller. And on top of that, if he scores a try, there's still a few more minutes of them having, being short a man, and we would have had more time to maybe even hit the lead or something. But that was a huge play from Adel Hage, and I can't think of a better intercept in recent memory. I'm sure there has been, but that was just an absolute game changer.
Almost as good as Darius Boyd against the Bulldogs. Do you remember that one?
Darius Boyd? No, I don't. What year are we talking?
He runs
2010.
Chris Keating makes a break. So the SCG makes a break 2-on-1. He takes an instant, actually runs the other way, scores. I'll tell you one thing, Rob, and I don't know whether this is correct or not, but this is something I'm very good at my job when I coach. And I was very good at it. And I take a lot of pride in it when I was doing it at NRLW level for our club. There is detail and there is detail. Let me tell you a detail. There was a bloke. There's always been those wingers and those fullbacks who you just know, and this has got to be in every tip sheet every week. And you know how I used to send you those tip sheets, right? When you do that at an NRL level, you do it with full detail. So everything about Josh Adel Hage will be on that tip sheet. What you need to know about Josh Adel Hage is if you've got a 2-on-1 with Josh Adel Hage, he will go for the intercept. So whether this was done or not, I'm not sure. Now, if it was done, well, then you go to Tito and go, Tito, what's a 2-on-1 with Josh Adel Hage? He goes for the intercept. Okay, you dummy. Now, if it's not in there, which I'm going to say it wasn't in there, and they don't do enough of this stuff, well, that's the detail that's missing. That's the detail.
No, I agree with you. It's funny you say that. I remember Phil Gould in commentary saying this once, and it's so true, and it used to happen all the time, and you'd remember this. He said, I always instruct my players whenever they're in a situation where they're running at Hazem El Masri in a 2-on-1, throw him the dummy, because El Masri always went for the intercept. And that always stuck in my head when he said that. And it was so true. Like you could see it. He was like, El Masri's anticipation was so good and his timing was so good at it too. Like he wouldn't make it obvious. He'd leave it till the last second, but you basically got to play chicken with him and just know that at that crucial moment, El Masri's going to go for the intercept and you throw the dummy at him. And yeah, that was a lot like that today. And sorry.
Next week we play the Sharks. Will Kennedy's their fullback. If you get a 2-on-1 on Will Kennedy, he's the same. He goes for the intercept. So it's going to be interesting to see. And he doesn't even go for the intercept. All he does is just try to get in the way and knock the ball down. So again, these are the details that I wonder if they put in there. Now, if they do, all good and well, you got to look at the player and go, mate, that's Adel Hage. We talked about it. And we talked about this is what he does in those situations as a winger. And if he's at fullback, he's going to do it even more. So that's disappointing.
Yeah, and just while I'm putting the boot into everyone, again, thank you to Justin Pascoe for not releasing Tom Talau or David Nofaluma for Josh Adel Hage 4 years ago. But I guess we're reaping the rewards of that today. Here's another huge turning point. Okay, well, I shouldn't say huge turning point in the sense that we scored a try after this, the next set, with Luke Lauliti getting smashed in the head by Moses and getting put over the sideline. We did score a try from the next tackle. But again, this is a ref that's out of control that realises I've got 11 men on the field here for Para. I can't dare let him get down to 10. The NRL keeps saying they're serious about headshots. And this was a clear swinging arm headshot. I promise you, if Moses does that same tackling action and gets his arm on Luke's shoulder, he doesn't have the ability to push Luke over the sideline. He's just going to bounce off him. There is no way Luke's going over the sideline unless his head's getting taken with it. So Luke would have scored in the corner. We did get the penalty, but I think Moses should have gone to the sin bin. But again, we did score a few minutes later. And that got us back to 26-22. And I really don't want to talk about the rest of the game, although there was a really short grubber kick from Adam Dewey after a nothing set. That was, I just thought the whole set was poor. And then he juggled a pass from first receiver, put a really short set. Not only was it a bad kick, Para retrieved the ball and ran basically 30 metres down the field before they got tackled. And we really never got a look in after that. And Moses absolutely pulls our pants down, puts a cross kick over for Simonson. And Sean Russell had kicked like a busted ass all day. Moses takes a conversion and nails that as well. Not that it made much difference at the time, of 8 the difference, 10 the difference. We're still 2 scores away. It was just disheartening to lose to this team, Adel. They've got a soft forward pack. They've got a forward pack that can unload and very good, in attack. But I'm rewatching the game. It looked like Parramatta were dominating most of that first half. And I looked up at the stats on the screen while I was fast forwarding, and it said West Tigers 3 missed tackles, Parramatta 14 missed tackles. So they're not a good defensive team, though granted, I think at one stage it said 9 out of 9 completed sets and we were 7 out of 8. So the completion rates were really good. And that 7 out of 8 was the non-call on Hopgood stripping the ball from Bolle on the first tackle. So we weren't playing badly, but it just... let's talk about Benji for a sec and the positive side, okay? I agree. He's built our game on effort, defence. I know you said the effort wasn't to your liking today, but it's about getting the attitude and the defensive effort, never giving up, right? I know probably guys like Cooper Cronk and whatever were better game managers than Benji Marshall, but you can't tell me that many people know the X's and O's of how to run shape or attacking plays like Benji Marshall. I feel like Benji doesn't see that as an important need right now, but it really is, because we have got enough weapons there to take advantage of it. And if you can combine it with the resilience we mostly show in defence, he's got to just change his thinking a bit, because I'm sick of hearing people saying, like you, for example, you said yourself, if Benji was out there today, 36-year-old Benji playing with South in his last year, as you put it, we would have won that game today. If he can do it, he can teach it. It's not hard to do. I think maybe he's got to get himself more into that red zone attack and mate, they just got to work on it. They got to nail it, and they got to just be Melbourne Storm and get into certain positions of the field and just run those things till they get it right, till it's like clockwork. There was an instance today, and it's only a minor thing, and I'm not picking on talent, but it just showed the lack of detail. We kind of tried to do, the move that the Broncos did the other week with Xavier Willison near the line where they ran the inside shoulder. Did you see when Talon did it on the other side of the field for Terrell May, and it just all went pear-shaped? If you're practicing that over and over and over again, you're going to get it right, because you're just used to knowing where every single person is. And the good part of me, or the Tigers part of me, wants to blame all the fatigue inflicted on us by the one-sided refereeing, but we got to a position where we could have broken their backs, got back into it and kicked away, just like we did against the Dolphins, and we didn't. And it's just frustrating that red zone attack is so poor, Adel, and especially when there was 11 men, 12 men. We kind of almost do better when there's 13 men. But look, let's just talk about the attack for a sec. Okay, I'm probably jumping a little bit forward here because I want to ask you more questions about next week, but what can we do to fix our attack? What's the next step to fix our attack? Is it a matter of personnel? Yeah. Is it a matter of who we decide who's going to be in the halves first, or who's going to be at centre? Because, again, this was a brand new back line today. First time it's played together, the same 7 players.
It's not easy enough to fix overnight. Okay. There's just a lack of detail in what we do around our attack. Now, I don't know the dynamic of how our coaching structure works. So at some clubs, for example, if you go to the South Sydney, Ben Hornby runs the attack. He does all of the attack. Wayne doesn't touch a thing. Wayne's job is to man manage. You go to Melbourne, same thing with them. It's their halves, it's their Mark Brentnell who does all their attack. Penrith, again, same sort of thing. It's Peter Wallace does their attack. Our ex-guy Benny Garden does all their defence. Ivan just oversees it, manages it. He doesn't come up with the plays. You see it's more common these days. It's not like it used to be for everybody out there. That's why sometimes you pan coaches' boxes and you see when a team runs a play and it comes off and it's something different. The coach is always high-fiving the assistant coach and they're having a laugh about it because the assistant coaches are implementing the structures. This is raising me really big question marks on Brett Hodgson. I'm going to say it. I know I'm someone that is reluctant to say that sort of stuff, but it does. It really, really does. There has to be a better plan. There's got to be a bit more idea. It looks like the players don't have a plan. Now, again, it could be that they do and the players are not executing, but I'm just going about the eye test. The eye test tells me there is no plan, and it's all reactive. Like you said, we just try to run the same play the Broncos run. The scrum stuff we've been doing, right, where we dropped the ball and we had the winger come in. That was after round one, after another team was doing it. So it looks like what we're doing is we're taking on, which is good. I don't mind the fact that we're watching what other teams are doing, but it looks like we're being reactive. There was no plan put in place. There's no belief in what our attack structure looks like. And we're sort of being reactive to what everybody else is doing. And then obviously having our base attack. It's not going to be fixed next week, Rob. Now, I'll tell you this, though, in my opinion, exclusive scoop, we'll win next week. Okay, we'll win next week. That's my opinion.
I love you, mate. You are fucking dreaming. Okay, you are absolutely... you are dreaming.
It's easier to say that with emotion now, but we're going to be sitting next to each other next week, and I'll be poking you every time we're in the lead. But I don't think that changes the big picture. To me, that doesn't change the big picture. It doesn't matter what we do next week. Now, what next week can do? Next week, if we lose next week, I agree with you. Our season's gone. If we lose next week, I think we can't come back from it. Mentally, we can't come back from it. I think when we win next week, it does change things. Okay, it's important for us. Now, the next part is what the club does with the Galvin situation. Now, someone already asked me today, what would you do? I'm sticking to my guns. He does not play another game for the club.
Can I stop you there for 1 second? Can I stop you there for 1 second? I want to touch on that. Before we touch on that, I want to quickly, in 2 minutes, close off this game today and not talk about the game anymore. I want to talk to you about the interchange real quickly. But look, again, just so it doesn't look like I'm picking on the Tigers, I don't think Parramatta were tactically perfect today either. I think when one player from each team went to the sin bin, I don't know why Parramatta didn't go for goal. Like they take it out to 28. They get a kick 30 out, 10 in from touch. Moses can bang that over with his eyes closed. And they're 28-10. But I also want to ask you who your best three players are and if there are any players you want to touch on. But, okay, back to where I started. So, interchange, thoughts on it, because I'm going to dob you in. You said to me, and you sent me a text just as I said it to my son, Rob Jr. I said, why the F isn't Appy Coruscant back on yet? And I think he came on about 4 or 5 minutes after you texted me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, as soon as the game went to 12 on 12, the hard part is I think he had just made the change, but I'm someone that pulls the trigger. I pull the trigger straight away and I pull him straight back on. Talon only played 16 minutes, so I agree with that. I think he needed his breather, which I think that was the set time. But as soon as it went to 12 on 12, that's the sort of time you want him on the field, 100%. And to be fair, if I remember listening to the commentary, he was up on the sideline ready to go. So he may not have just got on for a little bit after that.
How many minutes did Tony Suku get today?
None. That's not a problem for me, Rob. That's not a problem. Look, I know it's hard to understand.
It is.
I coached our Harvey Norman grand final. I coached our Harvey Norman Grand Final team. I had one girl play 3 minutes. I had another girl play 4 minutes. Sometimes when your rotation is small, and we know this because of the depth of the club, okay? If you don't feel the need to put someone on, sometimes you don't put them on. Okay, and I know it doesn't make sense. Now, to me, I would have made the change. I would have put him on instead of Seyfarth. But that's a little bit of because I don't actually think Seyfarth has got that position locked down. So I would have tried to have a bit of a point of difference there and put him on in the back row in that last 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going down the path of saying, yes, I would have probably put him on to give us a fresh, person on the edge there, especially when Taruva went to the bin, which meant that side got really picked to pieces. And there was a lot of extra effort being done on that side. So potentially, but it's not, not putting someone on to me personally. I've done it multiple times before. I've used 15 in the squad at times and we've won games because sometimes when your rotation is a little bit shorter, okay, you don't feel the need to put someone on for the sake of putting someone on, especially when Terrell's playing 80 minutes and Fanua played 57 today. So
I understand that using your bench is situational. And I want to say a couple of things. It's very easy for me to sit on the lounge and coach, and it's very easy for me to watch a replay and say, you should have done this, should have done that. And I'm not a coach. I get all that. I'd like to think I've got a little bit of IQ when it comes to rugby league. We didn't have the fucking ball for 10 minutes of the second half, the first 10 minutes of the second half. Your team is fatigued. Sometimes you need to, that's even more reason to use another person. You have 4 choices on your bench for that reason alone. Surely when your players are tired, you think, you know what, it's kind of like, having a power bank in reserve. Mate, you got to pull the trigger and put him on. Put him on, mate. You got blokes fatiguing.
But they did that. They made, after that period, they put Fanua and Talon on, and Uppy and Jack Bird came off. So they did make a double change after that period. I think.
Why not put a fresher bloke on? Like Fanua's played a big first half. Fanua was fantastic today, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? It's a good question. I don't know how to explain this. When you're coaching, you want your best player. Like if you feel like there's an important part of the game, you're like, all right, I need my starting front rows on the field. Like sometimes that happens, right? And when our rotation is really short and our depth is short, Rob, like as a coach, it's all about trust, right? It's like anything in life. It's all about what you trust. And in that situation, I'm going, shit, okay, well, we just consider, what we need? We need our starting 2 middles on the field together here. But I think and we all, let's be honest, we all admitted this at the start of the year. It's the fact that we know we've got 18, 19 good players. But
I think Tony Suka's effort against Brisbane, I thought was quite good.
I agree.
I really did, and he busted out a lot of minutes. Okay, this might be a bad analogy. I'm going to ask you this, okay, to try and make my point to see if you think it's a bad analogy, if I'm right or wrong. If I told you we're going to play Cronulla next week at Leichhardt, okay, 13 on 13, they get 4 players to choose from on an interchange bench. We get 3. Who's going to win? Because that's what we did today, mate. We had 3 players on the interchange bench. That's Benji not having any faith in the guy that he's got on the bench. That's not a next man up mentality. Sorry, it's not.
No. It's not about faith. It's about, if he thought Seyfarth was still the best bloke for the job at that time, or the back rows, because that's where Suka plays. Right, I can understand him not making it. I'm telling you, I don't agree with it. Like I don't agree with it that he, for the sake of he shouldn't have made it. He should have just made a change for the sake of it. I don't agree with it because, to me, Seyfarth, the last 20 of every game looks like he's gassed. He's looked like it for the first 6 rounds. So, and you're right. I think Suka did build a bit of confidence in that Broncos game. So I don't think there would have been, an issue putting him on in that situation. So I kind of do agree with you. Like even in that last 15, I would have liked to have seen a fresh back row on.
Well, then again, okay, and again, I'm not harping on the point. Let's just go on a little bit of a tangent here. Royce Hunt's the guy that got pulled out. He's a middle. Why didn't we have anyone in that 22-man squad that could have played middle? Like, are we that short of middles that we couldn't replace a middle with a middle? We really went with Talon De Silva, who's a backup hooker, Jack Bird, who's a de facto middle, because he's played most of his career second row or centre or 5'8", and even some fullback. I mean, we're lacking size and we're lacking punch up the middle, and we went into the game with one less middle again. If we're not going to use Tony Suka as a middle, Again, I don't know. Maybe there was no one available on the bench. I don't know what Royce Hunt's situation was, why he was out injured, or what was the late withdrawal from the game about. But again, look, let me just be clear on this. No one wanted to win today more than Benji Marshall. Okay, I get that. We've got to talk about something and talk about, I don't want to sound like I'm sucking up to Benji, because I think he's got a long way to go with the X's and O's stuff. But up until today, Adel, I'm totally invested and I believe in him, because I love what I've seen from this team this year. I really do. And I know we're missing some good players. Like, we're definitely missing Skelton. Obviously, Galvin makes a difference to the team. Royce Hunt, we miss his punch up the middle. There's probably another player or two I can't even think of. But we're not a team flush with depth. I don't even think our best 17 is perfect either. There's probably a couple of starting pieces that could be different again. Anyway, look, I've gone on too much about it. Let's talk about this Galvin situation. So I cut you off before. Give me your thoughts on, the whole Galvin situation with his management, whether it's about the Galvins or Moses or Bubba, Adam, whatever his face is, and our club, how we've handled it, Richo, Benji, in particular the players. I know you did touch on it and say you don't see a way for him back in the team, but just give me your whole overview, because this thing has absolutely been milked to death in the last 6 days or 7 days, including by us. We've done a couple of extra podcasts over it.
Well, I'm very, very clear on this. To me, there is one person to blame for all of this, and that is Lachlan Galvin. There's no left or right. The club's done everything right. Like, this whole garbage that's come out at the moment, and I don't really care about legal stuff. Like, there's nothing anyone can say to us. This whole legal notion of being bullied around the club, like, to me, it looks like he is everybody's perceiving him and treating him like a child, and it looks like he's been treated like a child for a very, very long time. And let me call it a spoiled child, because I cannot believe how this has all played out. I honestly can't. Like, I cannot believe we have got to a situation where people think, and people are still coming out and going and not understanding the situation, first of all, in regards to, we don't care that he's left our club. Don't get me wrong, I'm still dirty in the fact that he leaves. I mean, I think that's a low act in himself. Like, you're leaving.
But it's his right to do that. I get you, and I agree with you, but it's his right to do that.
Absolutely, it's his right to do that. But you know what? We all defended him last year when some of the reports came out about some of the things he was saying after games. And again, it sounds like a spoiled brat. If you're not winning, I want to go join someone else. You know what? I say it, like, you and I both know, I've told you that I've never been sold on him from day dot. Okay? He's a very, very good footballer. And I think football-wise, you should never judge him. But there has been notions and there's been conversations around him for a long time. Now, I don't know if people know this. In the Arrival Live Cup or Schoolboys Grand Final, there's a play he came up with. I don't know if anyone's seen this. And then the Grand Final for Westfields, where it's over the line and he's showboating and he loses the ball over the line. It's hit out by a kid called Jared Haywood. Okay? Trust me, there is a lot of things around Lachlan that he needs to improve about his attitude towards the game. I think what we've learned is everything that came out is true. Everything that was said about his opinion of the coaching staff, his opinion of the coach, his opinion of his teammates is true. What's the issue? Like, this whole notion of first of all, of bullying. So you can't be held accountable for being a wanker around your team. Let's say it. Like, is no one allowed to keep you accountable for being a wanker around your team or being disrespectful? Look, there is a lot of, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to sort of reveal too much. There is a lot of people, I want to talk about football stuff. There's a lot of people at that club that will be happy to see the back of him because of his attitude and his sense of entitlement. So
if you were bullied at
the end
work,
of the day, but
sorry, Adel, if you were bullied at work and you're uncomfortable about going to work and you've taken legal action against your employer, would you show up to work the next day?
absolutely not.
Well, he
That's
showed
what
up
I'm
to
trying to
Lincoln
say to you.
today.
Like, and you know what? Everyone wants to blame Isaac Moses. Mate, at the end
I
of the
do.
day, like I said last week, I know you do, mate, but like I said to you last week, okay, it's like you blaming my boss for my actions. Sorry, you blaming my employees for my actions. He could tomorrow tell Isaac Moses, I don't want you, mate. See you later. He could actually do that. Isaac Moses is not entitled to anything off Lachlan Galvin because the contract that he's sorry, I'm talking about the wrong player here. I was talking about Jareen. I'm talking about the wrong player. I was talking about Jareen there for a second. But he could technically say to him, mate, I'll pay you out the rest of whatever this contract is, and off you go. He can do it. Payne Haas have done it. Tedesco's done it. All these other people. Sonny Bill Williams did it back in the day with his original management. You can tell your manager, see you later. Like, yes, there might be some things you owe them money in regards to what's owed to their percentage, but that's it. That's all you got to do. At the end of the day, you can go represent yourself. You don't, or you tell your management exactly what they can and can't say. This legal letter has been signed off by Lachlan Galvin. Lachlan Galvin is 19 years old. He's not 12. He's entitled to drink. He's entitled to get all the things a grown adult is entitled to have. He's an adult. He's legally an adult. This notion that he's a 19-year-old kid, and people keep using the word kid, is ridiculous. He's a 19-year-old kid who disrespected his coach, whose management disrespected the coach, who went back and took notes on his coach, gave it to his management to use against the coach, a coach who's achieved 100 times more than he will ever achieve in this game. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but I don't care. Yet people want us to feel. I'm sick of people saying, I feel sorry for the kid. I don't. What are you feeling sorry for? He's going to get a bigger contract at Parramatta. This whole thing has, you know what? We all got played. All of us. This was always Parramatta. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Richo, there's two things.
Adel, I think we've lost you, buddy. You there, Josh?
Yeah, I'm here. What great timing. He was in the middle of some great fire there.
What was he just saying there about Lockie? Can you remember when we come back to him?
Yeah, no, he was about to say what Richo, something about Richo.
Oh, he'll be back in a sec. Yeah, I was just thinking of the next question to ask him, to be honest, so I kind of zoned out a little bit.
But no, very interesting what he's saying about Lockie.
Yeah, I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate with him, and I can talk to you about it, Josh, before he comes back, and I'll pose it to him as well. And again, I'm hypothesising here. I hear you. I think this is him coming back now. That's all. It happens once a week, whether it's you or me, mate.
Well, I thought Josh might have cut me off.
No, not at all. You were just saying something about Galvin. I think you started mentioning Richo, perhaps.
Yeah. So what I said was, if I'm Shane Richardson, there's two things I'm doing. The first thing I'm doing is I'm saying, if you don't feel like you can work in our environment, no problems. Stay at home for the next 18 months of your contract. We'll pay you. We'll look after you with counselling, whatever you need help with. No problems. Just go sit on the sideline. Like, it's very simple. The second thing I'm doing is this. I am absolutely kicking the door down to the NRL here, and I am inquiring, and I want a full investigation to find out what sort of, and they are capable of doing this. So what you got to know is anyone that's accredited with the NRL as a player manager actually has to give. There's no privacy rights. I want full transparency from Isaac Moses around anything to do with speaking to Parramatta about the Lachlan Galvin situation. Because let me tell you, and this is the lack of professionalism of our sport. Jason Rolls came out today after the game and said, we're in the hunt. We're in the hunt for him. In America, that's called tampering. You can't even comment until the player is free. So I am kicking the door down of the NRL saying I want it fully investigated what sort of conversations have been had between Parramatta and the management about him. And then I'm asking the Bulldogs if they've had questions. Mate, this is war. This is war against the club. Any other club where senior players have come out and stood up against a scallywag, ratbag 19-year-old. I'm not saying it against Galvin. I'm just saying, that's how we perceive young kids these days. For disrespecting the coach the way he has, everyone would applaud them. But it's our club. It's Jerome Luai, who people don't like. No. People like Willie Mason coming out and defending Galvin. Willie Mason, if that was a 19-year-old in the 204 Bulldogs side, Willie Mason would have had him by the throat up against the wall, telling him to pull his head in. Some of the Josh Reynolds coming out calling us childish, the way we're handling it. Like, imagine the irony in someone like that calling our club childish.
Well, they might change their tune, Adel. They might change their tune because apparently Canterbury's pulled out of the race now, so it looks like a one-act affair.
I don't think it's got anything to do with that, mate. I think just anybody loves to have a red-hot crack at our club. And our club has always been the ones who just take the hits. But I love it. Like I said to you today, like the whole Taruva thing. Nah, Riley Smith was in Jareem's face. He was on top of him. He wouldn't let go. Mate, if it's a sin bin, it's a sin bin. At the end of the day, you stand up for your teammates. I'm okay with it, mate. I'm okay with everything in the way we've handled it. This whole bullying garbage has absolutely pissed me off this week.
I accept your point that the Galvins have to sign off on whatever's happening. It's ultimately their decision. 100% agree with you. But if I'm Lachlan Galvin, and this is where I think it does come back to the management, if I'm Lachlan Galvin, and whether we like it or not, he wants to leave. As much as it's his right to do it, and as Tiger supporters, we think it's a dog act. He's derailing our season. It's not in the best interest of our team for this year and our future, because we've basically moved all the cards around him to make it his team, his go. Obviously, him and Jerome. Like, Jerome's the guy on the biggest deal in the club, but we were going to offer him a deal that wasn't far short of that. What if I'm being advised by Moses and say, mate, the only way I can get you out of here, the fastest way I can get you to Parramatta, just come up and tell me anything, any bad shit you can tell me about Benji. I need it now. I need to get this out in the public. I need you to double down on that he's not going to improve my development. I can't understate what I think the role of Isaac Moses and his management is. And further, just something you said about the NRL, Adel, not sort of, being strong enough. What's the point of taking his accreditation off him again when Adam Brahm can just negotiate for him anyway? You need to shut down. I know he's got a zillion players in his management company, but you need to ban them totally. So he's absolutely ruined, and all those players have to go somewhere else, or they're basically deregistered. That's how you hurt him. And it's the second time he's done it in 8 years, mate. It's the second time Isaac Moses has done this in 8 years. And the worst part is he's going to Parramatta. He's not going to Craig Bellamy. He's not going to the Bulldogs that made the semis last year and are undefeated this year. He's going to a rabble. I mean, they're obviously planning to get more players, and they've promised him that we'll sign this bloke and that bloke and whatever, and you're going to have all the pieces there. It's just awful how it's played out. But I know you're blaming the Galvins. I'm not saying they're not to blame. Of course, it's ultimately their decision, but it's Isaac Moses, mojo. But that's exactly how he operates. 101.
Yeah.
And Nathan Astor literally called every move he was going to do, Adel. Everything that he said he would try and do and agitate, he's done that.
But again, Rob, that's my point. My point is, these people knew that what they were in for, and they chose to be with him. And again, you can't tell me that he's been influenced by a manager where he's already put himself out there to be this, know-it-all 19-year-old, because he knows that his coach is not good for him.
So look, I'll double down. I'll double down again on what Benji said, Adel. I think they're good people, and they've been totally misguided. And it's not all about the dollars. It's not all about the dollars. It's about respect. it's about respect. It's about being able to walk into the room and knowing you've done your business honourably. It's about, you know, maintaining those friendships and relationships and being able to walk back into a club. Like, for example, everyone's trying to throw shade on Jerome Luai and Tito Taruva about, oh, well, you guys went for the money, etc., etc. Mate, Penrith fans love those blokes, and they'll always be welcome back into the club anytime they want. They haven't disrespected the coach or the club or anything like that whatsoever. So I think, as much as I think the Galvins are good people, they've been told to go down a shithouse road, you know, in a way to get Lockie out of that club. So you think Lockie will never play first grade again for us, even if we lose next week against Cronulla? Is there something Benji can do? Is there anything Benji can say to the players? What if Benji says to the players, and again, I'm hypothesising here, and I know Lockie's shat on Benji, I get all that, but what if Benji says, guys, I need him at 6. Latu's going to be out for another few weeks. Hopefully he's back sooner, but Latu's going to be out for another few weeks. We're kind of pretty weak in the centres. I want to throw Adam back at centre. We need him in the team. Like, we can't let our whole 25 season go because you don't want to play with this guy. Like, is there any way you can win these guys?
I think you're overstating that perspective of Benji going to the players. I think, look, I know Benji enough to know he's an alpha. Like, I don't think he cares what the players think. I think he will go with them and he will support them and he'll take their advice. But if Benji just woke up tomorrow and decided that Galvin's in the team next week, Galvin's in the team. And I know Uppy enough to know that Uppy will make it work, okay? The only thing I'm going to say about that is I think there's a lot more to play out in the next 24 hours because did you watch the press conference?
Yes, I did.
So Richo was there. Now, we've all learned that Rothfield and Richo have become friends again. When they went back to 360, because they obviously, there was a big thing that Richo was there, and when they asked about Galvin, Uppy and Benji both looked over to Richo. Rothfield's response was, I think you'll find that's got something to do with the legal situation. I'm thinking what you're thinking, Rob, in regards to turning up to work. I think the club will now stand Galvin down while ever there's a legal situation. That's what I think will happen because they've got to cover themselves. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail, but let me tell you, when I was at the club in 2020, when did this happen? When was my last year at the club? 2023?
23.
I had a complaint made about me at the club. Okay, I'm going to dive into something that I probably don't really want to talk about, but I'll give it a bit of an opening here.
Well, mate, people want to know about you, so share it. People want to know more about you, mate.
The club stood me down because there was a complaint made about me by a staff member. Okay, so I knew nothing of it. Our former CEO never even come directly to me. He basically just told somebody else to go stand me down. I never got a chance to even speak to anybody or nothing. I just got immediately stood down after one accusation. Took 4 weeks, got fully exonerated. There was nothing. I did nothing wrong. Long story short, I got stood down because basically what was told of me, and I understand it, is because of the accusation and the legalities of it, you can't actually continue with your job. So the presumption for me will be is the club has got no choice now that this is legal. There's a legal about, it's not a safe work environment. It's not so much about the bullying. It's you have not created a safe work environment. So if there's a legal matter regarding someone's safe work environment, how can that person still come to the safe work environment or come to that work environment? They can't. So it's almost like you have to stand him down. Yeah. Like I don't see what other options there is. Like how can you have file a complaint and then still turn up, like you said, still turn up to work? Like what's he going to do? Is he going to come in a video tomorrow? But
all right, I've said it once and I'll say it again. I think Richo is too smart a cookie not to release Lachlan Galvin without getting a piece that suits the West Tigers. I think if he's going to Parramatta, we need to know that. We need to allow him to negotiate and say, this is where I want to go, and that's where I want to be in 2027. And then we say to Parramatta, if you want him for the rest of the year, they might not want him for the rest of the year. They've got Dylan Brown for the rest of the year. And they've got a couple of options at lock in terms of Hopgood and Dylan Walker. They might not want him this year unless they can release Dylan Walker. So they might need to explore that option. But we need to find out what we can get in return. Otherwise, I don't see Richo letting him go. Do you see a world where we let Galvin go without getting anything back for it? Because that's the one thing our club has always been bad at. We've always been bad negotiators, and Shane Richardson's far from a bad negotiator. So personally, I believe Richo is going to want a piece in return for Lachlan. Do you agree with that sentiment?
If we let Lachlan Galvin go early and we don't get anything in return, Shane Richardson might as well pack up his office and walk out.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you feel the same way. Let's assume, okay, have you got anything more to say about Lockie? Because I kind of want to just talk about next week's game now.
No.
Anything else you'd like to touch on?
I've said what I have to say. I think my point is pretty strong and pretty. I'm pretty open with where I think. Well, it's pretty clear where I stand with it all.
All right. We don't know who's injured from today or what the story is, unless you've got a handle on that, which I haven't, because I've been rewatching all of Liam Kennedy's horrendous refereeing errors. If Lachlan Galvin isn't in the team next week, and Latu Fainu isn't available next week, so I'm ruling both of them out for now. How do you see our back line next week? Do you think we run with the same team? Do we throw Jerome back at 7, move Adam to centre, play someone else at 6, maybe a Jack Bird? How do you see next week? Have you had any thoughts about how we line up next week? Because you said to me, which I don't believe, that we're going to rock up to Leichhardt. I know we're going to make a lot of noise and cheer the boys on, but I think we're done, mate. I think this was a huge loss today.
I think we'll roll. Well, if I'm the coach, I roll the same 17 next week. Same. As much as I didn't think Dewey had a good game, you roll with the same 17. You give him an opportunity to at Leichhardt, and at the end of the day, Rob, it's our best. Like, it's the best available team. Like, who can make an argument? You think Jack Bird going in the half is going to be better than Dewey? Like, it's not.
I'm not saying that. I was playing devil's advocate, mate. I don't know.
It's not, and I have a look through our. There's nobody in New South Wales Cup that can come up. I'm not talking about the halves. I'm talking about anywhere. Like, yeah, to me, it's Royce Hunt will come back in. Suko will come out. That'll be our team next week. That'll genuinely be our team next week. So we just got to find a way to get it done. Benji did say Latu is a chance next week. If he's a chance, get him in. But
if he's fit, would you rush him back if he's 50-50? Would you risk him injuring that thumb?
There's no such thing as 50-50 with a broken thumb. Like, you can either play or you can't. So there's no rule. It's not like a muscle injury or a hammy or a calf, or a knee. It's a broken thumb. I mean, either he can catch a ball, pass a ball, tackle, or he can't. So he'll go through all those protocols. He'll tick the boxes they need to tick, and if he can do all them pain-free, well, he'll play. But if he can't, he just won't play. That's a pretty straightforward one, that one.
All right, mate. And you looking forward to doing a live show from the Orange Grove Hotel next Sunday night?
I'm looking forward to coming to Sydney to see. By the way, have you checked on your cousin Mark after that game? I wonder if he's got out alive.
I almost sent him a text about Adam G's decision to penalise Sam Weller for the hip drop, and I thought, don't get him started. He'll probably send Adam a text message and abuse him. So I just thought because I know how pissed off and angry I am, and when you see an experienced referee make that call, and you just think, I mean, I haven't played the game, but they haven't played the game, but fuck, they're dumb. Seriously, they're so dumb. Like, how that's a hip drop. Yeah, mate, it's not good enough. I don't know. I was saying to someone, I was chatting actually with the boys from West Tigers podcast just before we got on tonight. And I was saying to them, like, I felt devastated after round 1. I felt devastated after round 4. It's got nothing in comparison to how I'm feeling tonight, mate. I honestly thought we were going to win 4 in a row till this whole Galvin mess reared its head on Monday morning. And as soon as that came out, it took a little bit out of me. And then I got to be honest, when Moses was named, that absolutely just bothered me. I just thought this is all set up for him because other than Origin, Moses really hasn't done much in his career except destroy the West Tigers, whether he plays against us or plays for us. So I was always feeling a bit negative. I changed my tip about half a dozen times this week. I just had a negative vibe about this whole week. I just think this whole Galvin situation has killed our season. That's what bothers me the most. As much as I would have hated it, it would have been more acceptable if we were 1-5 or 0-6 for all this to happen. But to be 3-3 and having a reasonable draw and looking on the up, I think it's just disgusting behaviour from Isaac Moses to say that Parramatta is a better situation than us. But look, ultimately, mate, he's been agitating to get out for a while. So if he doesn't want to be at the club, he needs to, pack up and leave ASAP. But we need to get something in return, mate, and identify what position we need. I can't imagine I'm letting go of a Lomax, but, maybe a Hopgood or someone like that. Hopgood can play. He's a lock. He's a ball player. Or again, if they end up releasing Brown to Newcastle, who do we pinch from Newcastle? Do we get? They really don't have much there, mate. Maybe a Marju or someone like that. I don't think they're going to release anyone else. I don't know what all this talk about Kai Pearce-Paul is, mate. He's shit. He scored 1 try in 2 years, and he's basically had a career in English Super League. I don't see him. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. He doesn't really offer much.
Yeah, I wouldn't sign him as well, but more importantly, Rob, and this is the beauty for all us fans, because we all love it. At the end of the day, we get to go to Leichhardt Oval next Sunday, and the truth of the matter is, even through 3 wooden spoons, where we've all been really upset, and even for myself, I've been at the club, and it's been a struggle. The one thing I always loved was Leichhardt Oval, so we get to go to Leichhardt Oval next Sunday, mate. So that's all. Let's look forward to that, I guess. Let's put a smile on our faces and look forward to getting to Leichhardt next Sunday, and I'm just happy I'll be there.
Oh, you won't get a smile out of me, mate, till I see you in person, because I'm absolutely devastated. And if I'm feeling like this, I can imagine how half our fan base are, mate. It's just we've had so much hope this year, and this F-wit of a human being, Isaac Moses, and his team have just influenced a young man to say that somewhere else he's better just for the benefit of his cousin. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's just as selfish as Lockie just wanting to play left side. It could be as simple as that. It might not have anything to do with coaching. It might be him not wanting to be on the right side of the field with Benji, and he's not getting his way, and he's like, you know what, Mitch Moses has the right side of the field. I'll play left side of the field. I'll be happier there. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but it's just...
we've already touched on it, I think that the more we credit Isaac Moses for this, the more he enjoys it. So let's I mean, I know you're not going to, but the reality is there's one person to blame only, and that's the player. Well, I'll stand on that.
I hope this whole saga, and it's not on Lockie. I wish him all the best wherever he goes. I hate how he's handled it, but again, I think he's been brainwashed, and so is his family. I hope this absolutely, totally stains Isaac Moses. I hope every parent, every young player, anyone that thinks to go there, if you think just getting more money for your son or your daughter, if she's going to play NRLW, is the be-all and end-all, then you got a lot to learn about life. There's a hell of a lot more than just the dollars you can earn, because a clean skin like Lockie, when I say clean skin, someone that does pre-season training before pre-season starts, and is, the good-looking all-Australian boy, 6'4", and, girls at his feet probably, he could make just as much off the field as he would on the field. And with a club that goes from Balmain all the way out to MacArthur, and he lives in the area, I just think he's been really poorly advised. If his gripe really is with Benji, then I guess we had no choice. But I think it's a poor decision, but that's their decision. If it's their decision, I guess it's the right decision for them. But we need to get something in return for him and move him on ASAP, because this black cloud hanging over our club is not in the best interest of all of us. But I don't want Richo to cave just because it is affecting us. We've gone through this now. I reckon it's dented our season. We need to get something in return for it.
Agree.
All right, Adel, thanks for joining me, mate. Apologies for the 27 F words. They're probably the only 27 F words I've dropped this year. Watch a game live with me at home on my own, and you'll get more than F words. But thanks for joining us. We're going to be at the Orange Grove Hotel.
Sit in
Sorry?
the coach's box with me. Sit in the coach's box with me for half a game, and you'll get more.
Mate, I'll be telling you, why didn't you sub this person off, or why haven't you used Tony Suko? Yeah, don't put me in the coach's box with you. I'll be giving it to you double barrel. But we'll be at the Orange Grove Hotel at 8:30 on Wednesday night. Join us there, and yeah, I guess we're not going to touch on this game too much. It hurts too much. We've already done that tonight, but we'll preview the Cronulla game. We'll talk about a whole lot of other stuff as well, and hopefully I'll be a little bit happier in the next 48 hours or so, and be ready for Wednesday 8:30. Thanks again, Adel.
See you guys Sunday.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and facebook.com/WestsLife Pod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife, and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife podcast.